So just to go along with that, each of the days we went through a couple passages in Mark how Jesus is Lord over the storm. He is Lord over demons and evil spirits. He is Lord over death and Lord of life and our future. And just through that, seeing that, he is also Lord over every single interaction, over every conversation that happened this past week. But not only that, he is Lord over whatever comes next. We're at the point we've been going for about 4 years now, and KeyDog is a small community, and it's going to be exciting to see how things are going to change a little bit. We didn't have as many kids this year, still had some adults come out, but people move away. And when it's a small community, you certainly notice when one family leaves. So it's going to be very exciting to continue this ministry in whatever form that takes. As many of you may know, Bethany Mann has moved back here to Minnesota. And so Bruce and I had the special opportunity to attend one of their actual community meetings that happened on a Wednesday night during the week we were there. It's sometimes a struggle to get a hold of people on the reservation, so that was just a God thing, and they invited us in to sit and be a part of their community business. The first part was pretty boring, just talking about election stuff, but then they gave us an opportunity to introduce ourselves and explain who we are a little bit and why we come. When we opened it up, hey, do you guys have any questions for us about what the heck we're doing here? One woman didn't really hesitate too long before she said, how can you convince Bethany to stay? So that just speaks to me how much that woman has been intentional in pursuit of the relationships out there, how she has shown such genuine, authentic love, and how we've been able to do that from afar we've been able to partner with her to do that. The couple times we're out there during the year through staying in connection with kids, but that is a testament to that. And the seeds that have been sown, that we're going to keep going. We're going to keep watering. We're going to keep doing whatever that takes. And so just be in prayer for what the future looks like. We don't really know it just yet, but it's going to evolve, and it's going to grow, and it's going to be fantastic. Pastor Paul Mitchell and Gloria from Tawahe, they were here a couple weeks ago, months ago. They potentially want to pick up that sowing and continue to take care of those seeds that Bethany has planted. So just be in such prayer for them, because it's crucial that the kids that we interact with, that we have built relationships with, have someone there full-time to continue answering questions, being there to potentially disciple people, which is so exciting. And I'm just so excited. He's Lord over it all, and he has the power in it. So that is just awesome.
Hi, I'm Emma. I had a couple interactions with older kids this week that were really encouraging to me, and both of them did not really like the idea of having their pictures in a slideshow, so you probably won't see their faces. But Anthony was 13, and he, in previous years, had come. He'd stayed all day. He played basketball with whoever was playing basketball, and then he'd stay for lessons and eat dinner. This year, he came before we ate dinner, and he'd play basketball with us, but then he'd leave right after dinner before the lesson. And one of the nights, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I noticed right as he was about to... Okay, they're in that picture somewhere. Danette's in the black shirt with the white. I haven't talked about her yet, but whatever. Anyways, I caught him right after dinner as he was about to walk out the door, and I asked him, I said, so you're not staying for the lesson? He said, no. And I said, well, we're talking about spirits today and how Jesus is Lord over spirits and demons. And he said, I don't believe in that. I said, you don't believe in what? And he said, I don't believe in spirits, and I don't believe in Jesus. He paused for a second. He said, do you believe in Jesus? And I said, yes. He said, oh, man, I thought you were cooler than that. And I said, well, I believe in Jesus, and I'm open to talking about him whenever you want. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And he said, okay, and then he left. But it was very encouraging. The next day, he stayed. He kind of stayed in the back so we wouldn't see him. But he stayed for the lesson, and it was really encouraging to me, at least. To you, I think you were teaching that day. And then Danette is actually 18. Or Dawn, she goes by Dawn now, and she has been around since the very first year. And for the first 4 days of Kids Club, she didn't really stick around that much. She came in and she played basketball for a couple minutes, and then she'd leave. But the very last day she came at the beginning, she played basketball with us. She played 3-on-3 basketball with us. And then she went outside, and I followed her out there, and we were just drinking water and hanging out, and she just opened up. She just started talking about boys and former crushes. And it was just it was just really cool how that built. And I had lived out there. I'd spent the summer out there last summer, and I had spent time with her. I'd taken her to Starlight, which is an ice cream shop in Mission, and we had kind of built up a little bit of a relationship. And it was a little discouraging to me at the beginning of the week when she didn't stay around, she didn't want to talk. But then on Friday, the encouragement and that relationship just came back, and it just reminded me all the more of how we need to go back every year and the reasons that we go back and why it's so important.
Hello. Hi. So it's also my 4th year going to HEDOG. I've been with the City on a Hill group every year, and I have a couple points to make. I'm going to talk about another connection with a little boy named Michael. If you've ever gone with us on a trip to HEDOG, you know Michael. He is a reoccurring presence, and he is a very loving presence. We probably don't have any pictures of him because he's not in one spot for more than about 10 seconds. He is always moving, always running around. One of his favorite things to do is kick the ball while we go and get it. So, but yeah, it's been nice to see Michael constantly showing up and coming to the kids clubs that we have every day. Sometimes somebody told him this at some point this week, we're going to be there about 2:30. So he says, I'm going to be there at 2:15. He just loves coming. He loves being around. But there was one point this week on Wednesday, I believe, when he was playing kick the ball, and it ended up bouncing off the wall, and it actually hit a little girl in the head, and then she ran away crying. It was an accident, and things like that happen when you're a small gym. There's balls flying everywhere. People are sitting all over the gym. But he felt really, really bad about that. So it was kind of tough for him to get back into his normal groove the rest of that day, even into the next day. But something that was really, it was just really great to see was he made a connection those days with Mr. Brian Schmidt and Mr. Bill Risto, and they actually sat down with him, and they prayed with him, they talked to him, and he ended up getting a Bible from those two men, and they made a better connection with Michael that day than I think most people have had in these 4 years that we've been there. And it's not exactly a bad thing to feel bad for hitting a little girl in the face. But then on Thursday, Pastor Paul Mitchell was there, and he ended up speaking after one of our lessons, and he had all the little kids, or all the younger kids, come up, and they're going to pray with him. Michael didn't really feel comfortable standing around all the kids because he's actually getting a little bit older than most of them, I would say, a little bit. He's kind of tall, too. But I pulled up a chair right outside that smaller circle, and he saw me sitting up there, and he came up and he sat next to me, and we actually prayed together right outside that circle. And after that moment, he brightened up. He brightened back up to his normal self. We got to pray there, and it lifted his spirits. You could see it immediately after. He was back into running around. We were building rockets, and instead of helping me build our rocket, he took the duct tape from our rocket and tore people's hair out. But he wasn't doing that earlier in the day, so it was actually a good thing. His spirits were lifted. A good thing. But yeah, you could see his whole mindset had changed after that moment when we got to sit down and I got to connect with him again. I love Michael. He's a really cool kid, and if you ever get to go out to HEDOG, you'll definitely know who he is. My second point kind of connects with Michael. If you've never been on one of these trips, and I'm not saying this is a terribly negative thing, but you may have negative feelings towards it. You may think that some people go on missions trips, and it's more like, oh, you go do something for a week, and now you feel good, and you come back home, and you never really make any more connections. You never really help any other way because you're only there for a week. What are you doing? I just want to say that that's not true. With guys like Michael and even Anthony, especially me with Michael and Anthony, I get to connect with them every year, over 4 years, and I get to see them grow and grow with us. And I'm there, and this whole group is there to provide a positive influence, a positive role models for these kids, so that they're not sucked into things that are taking other kids out there, like drugs and alcohol, and just all the problems surrounding where they live. we are there to show them that that's not the only option. It was really hard to leave this time. This is probably the hardest time it's been for me to leave He Dog. But yeah, yeah, I really just want to pound home that point that we're there to support these kids and help provide positive role models and guide them in the right direction, to help them grow with us, with this group as a whole, as we continue to go back every year, and we make short-term trips. We Snapchat them, we email them, we text them, and you never really lose these connections that you make. My dad made a really good point when I was talking to him yesterday. If you've ever been to a camp when you were younger, you probably remember your camp counselor. You can remember what they said to you, how they treated you, that they were a positive presence in your life, and that's what we're with them, just for more time. We're repeating every year, every spring trip, every winter trip, every card that we send them. We want to be that presence in their lives as much as possible and help guide them and teach them like we do with the lessons we have, and guide them towards God and towards the better life that they can have and away from those outer influences.
Hi, my name is Chris, and I was one of the newbies on the trip this year. As Emma mentioned, she's been an intern out there last summer and has gone for many years, so I kind of followed my kids, Emma and Andrew anyway, out there, having been out there in the past. And so I kind of thought I knew a little bit about what went on out there, but it wasn't, you can't really know until you're there. So I was completely overwhelmed by just the kids from City on a Hill and the other churches that go out there and serve, and it was like they were picking up where they left off from the prior year. And so I followed them around a little bit, and later in the afternoons, some of the kids were there, some of them were there, right away, but usually later in the afternoon, some of the parents, if they were going to come, or other adults in the community would come. And so I got a chance to meet Angel, who is the mother of Anthony and Rosie and Allison. And Angel works at a quilt shop not far from He Dog. And so we had the opportunity to go to the quilt shop, and she was so excited for us to come, and she said she was waiting for us on Wednesday, or on Tuesday, and we didn't go on Tuesday. We told her we were going to come, but we didn't go on Tuesday. So we showed up on Wednesday, and they have beautiful quilts there, and so we looked at the quilts and everything, but probably mostly for me, we ended up going back 3 days in a row. So we went on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But after we were there on Wednesday, on Thursday, usually at the end of the day, Angel would come and join us for dinner. And then on Thursday, Angel came with, I think, like the manager of the quilt shop and another gal. And that was the day that the kids were performing the Everything skit that you saw. And then on Friday, when we stopped at the quilt shop, this gal said she was there to watch the Everything skit, God's Timing, and she said, it made me cry. And so she said, and I haven't cried in a long time. And then she said, and it was so true. And I didn't have a chance to follow up with her. You don't really know what that means to them when they say that. But anyway, it was just really neat to be able to connect with some of the adults out there, and just to interact and to piggyback on what other people like Joanne have been able to do, and just continue to build those relationships. So